Alright, welcome to the next demo of Cinco de Mayo. Wearing our taco shirt. Making this video specifically for Jade and Elizabeth since they ain't here. So you get to see it later on YouTube. Give it a wheel wedge, push it down. Get that nice shiny look on your clay when you're centering it. Alright, so this is going to be a double walled piece. Just trying to make it interesting since this is our intermediate class that, just throwing basic stuff is boring. So I'm going to first start by bringing a bunch of clay down to the side. And then we'll come back and readdress it later. We want some clay down on the side. About that much. And then I'm going to recenter this middle piece here. I'm basically just going to throw a big cylinder out of the middle piece. And then the outside piece we will throw... Did I already lose my sponge? I lost it. We'll throw the rest of it out of the outside piece. So, make the hole. Step 2, make a hole after you center it on step 1. Stop before you get to the bottom. And we'll lift that up into a cylinder. It's a good idea to slow your wheel down after you've got it centered. Now we're going to do the fine tuning. Alright, so we got a cylinder in the middle. How we like. Always collar in the cylinder. You don't want to go out. It's so much easier to go out than it is to go in, so we save the outward part for the end. Let's get all the water out of this outside piece. When water sits in there, that's what gives you cracks and things like that. And we're just going to pull up a wall out of this outside piece now. So it's got the double wall. So many people worry about, like, if it's not spinning perfectly centered and they freak out and lose the whole piece. Just go with it. If it starts to wobble on you, just go with the wobble. You can always try to pull that wobble out later. Alright, so now we've got 2 walls going. I'm going to keep the top of this more towards the inside, and I want to push out in the middle of this thing. So that the pot has a little shape to it. Alright, so because I had to get my hand in there, we got this little flange. So I'm just going to choke the flange back towards the center. When you've got 2 walls especially, like, and it feels like it's wobbling on you, if that's bugging you, a lot of times your eyes can catch that wobble and it'll transfer down to the rest of the piece. So if you have to, just close your eyes. And you'd be surprised how well you can throw something with your eyes closed. So I'm just going to choke that in. Try not to look at it, because that's going to transfer to everything else. You can always come in and clean things up later. So I'm going to join these 2 walls together. And whenever you're joining the walls of a double-walled piece, you really want to spend just a little bit of time really sealing them together, because that's the point that it's going to want to crack at. And you've got 2 walls meeting together, so you've got some extra clay. It's a little thicker. That's where you can kind of push into it a little bit and get that extra little piece of meat out of the clay. So I'm going to go back to the seam and just kind of hold for a little bit, just to let those really blend together. Alright, so we've got everything started. Everything you're doing in pottery is like you're setting yourself up for the next step that you're going to do. So before I start to shape this anymore, I'm going to clean up the bottom a little bit. It's usually easier to get in here and clean this edge up before you shape the pot and then try to come back later and clean it up at the end. So I like to just, you know, you're setting yourself up for the next step. So it's good just to clean that up. Now here's where we're just going to shape it. That's the fun part. You know, this is kind of where your own artistic expression comes together. So if you like finger grooves, leave finger grooves. If you want to clean it off and have like a nice smooth pot, smooth everything off.
You could also carve design into it, right? And then expose the inside.
That's exactly where we're going with this. So here we got this fun little neck. And the whole point of this is that it's got a double-walled vase. So, like you were saying, yeah, you carve a design into it. You're going to have some negative space, but say you want to put flowers in the vase. Well, if you put a bunch of holes into a normal vase, the water's just going to leak out of it. This thing gives us the opportunity to hold the water on the inside of it. So basically we have a vase. I'll clean up the bottom just a little bit. So I'm going to finish this thing off so you can see it, but typically from here, you know, once you have the shape and everything that you like, it's a good time just to let it set up so you have some slightly stiffer clay before you're carving into it or doing any designs. Because I'm doing this all in one thing, I'm just very quickly, and on the video I guess I'll edit it and speed it up. So we got one of these handy dandy heat guns donated by Danielle, one of our other Shining Star pottery students. Just give it a little dry so we can skip across everything to make it weather hard real quickly. And you can get this thing really close. You know, it's used for stripping paint. Every hardware store carries them. You know, she found this thing on the internet. It's a pretty nice one. But you know, if you tried to do this just like a regular hair dryer, you'll probably burn out your hair dryer getting that close to it. With the hair dryer, you've got to be way back here. It's going to take forever. So with this thing, you can get right up close to it, dry it really quickly. So whether you let it set up on its own, which is always better, you're going to run into less defects and cracks that way, or you dry it out real quick, and then it's, you know, it's still pretty wet, but just so you don't have to sit here and watch me dry it all day. Here's where you can come in, give yourself a few, and I mean, you don't have to just do circles, you can do anything you like, carve a fun design into it, however you want to do it. You know, you can use the typical Amazon tool, or I don't know where this thing came from. I think I stole it from NAU University. You know, carve it in with a needle tool or something like that. That would have been like 20 years ago too. So technically, statute of limitations, it's mine now. But you know, I guess there's like some company out there they call Diamond Core or something. You could probably use one of those. I've never used them. I'm sure they work great, but I've just been using the same dang tools for the last 29 years, and they work just fine. So go ahead, put fun designs all around the thing, and you've still got your piece on the inside that's gonna hold the water on the inside when you pour water into it and put some flowers in it, and you get to have negative space and fun little holes on the outside. So there's just one hole, but use your imagination and come up with your own design. So that's the demo.